Welcome everyone. It is week 13. It is the week after my first show of the season. I'm Amy. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner and an NPC bikini competitor. If you want to see my show day vlog, it was the one that came out just before this. I was thinking about combining it into my week 13, but I had so much to kind of talk about, I just decided to separate them. So go back and watch show day vlog if you have not. I really appreciate you watching that one. In this vlog, we're going to talk about my check-in, my judges' feedback. I'm also going to talk about shaving because I had someone ask for the timestamps for shaving in my last video, and I realized I must have cut out all of the footage where I talked about shaving. I talked about skin prep, but I didn't really talk about shaving. So I have all my stuff. I'm going to talk about that in this video. I also have a grocery haul and plans for my next show of the season. So let's first do my check-in. So I checked in the day after the show. Here are my pictures. I was still rocking that glorious goddess tan. The day after the show, you know, you've washed off the top coat that makes you like super dark, and you're just left with this beautiful glowy bronze tan, and I was feeling great. So my check-in, I'd been in a lot of contact with my coach the day before, so it was pretty much just updating him on what my weight was the morning after the show. The day of the show, he and I kind of had already chatted about what the plan would be for the following day. He said if I woke up lighter than I was on show day to do my carbs at 250. If it was the same, I could drop maybe back down to 200. And I woke up a full pound lighter than I was on show day, so I knew I was getting 250 grams of carbs. So not a lot went on in my immediate check-in. And I'll talk more about kind of the conversations he and I had throughout the course of the week and what the plan is moving forward in the outro. So yeah, so rocking the tan, feeling good. It was the day after the show. As you saw in my outro from last week, I kind of just unpacked my bags. I did a quick grocery haul, which you will see in the next clip, and just kind of got ready for this week. This week was a very, very busy one at work. I really lucked out, like the timing really worked out that last week. I mentioned that the office was closed on Friday because they were hooking up our solar power unit, so there was no power to the building for like 6 hours, so the office had to be closed. So that was a huge bonus and just kind of a happenstance kind of thing. So it was really great that I had a little bit lighter week at work leading up into my show, but it did make this week very busy. So it was kind of a busy, stressful week, and then I was dealing with, just all the post-show feelings also. So it was definitely kind of a tougher week. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a tough week, but I was feeling good in the gym. I was able to really push it again. I did cut back a little bit just on intensity and everything the week on peak week, just so I wasn't accumulating any soreness throughout the week. So I did just ramp it right back up and got back to my, heavier workouts, and that was all feeling really, really good. So that was all good. Let's talk about shaving. So you have to shave your whole body for the tan prep. You're going to assume that you've been doing all your exfoliating, you're using your coconut oil moisturizer, and now it is time to shave. The tan companies usually recommend shaving at least a day or two before you get tanned, because if you try and shave the day of, you could wind up with some razor irritation, especially in areas of the body that you may not be used to shaving. Something I do is I actually start shaving several weeks in advance of the show. And that's just to kind of start hacking away. Hacking is such a broad word, but I start shaving with just an electric razor. So I use several tools to do the whole body shave, but this is my favorite. So this is the Philips Wet Dry. This is a women's specific, but they make a men's version. You can actually see the replacement coil is actually black. It's the replacement coil that they, market to men, because the men's one is black, and I can never find the white ones for women. I actually just, for the first time, replaced the coil. Oh, you saw that in one of my videos. I still have the box right here with this guy. So the men's one, you can see on the back, like it fits all these body groomers. So there's a bunch, and they say that this blade lasts for 12 months. I mean, I hadn't replaced the one on my lady shaver since I purchased it. So that's why I did it this year, because I knew it was probably due. But you can use this wet or dry, as the name implies, wet dry. I usually just use it dry, and you want to make sure your skin is really dry if you're using it dry, and it just cuts the hair down. So I start doing that on my arms, on my glutes, on my low back, like areas I can easily reach. I even start kind of doing like some of my trunk and my sides. You can't see, it's like you can't really see the hair. I have very fair hair on those areas of the body, but it's there. And if you don't shave every single hair off, the tan won't stick to your skin, it sticks to the hair. And it can make you look kind of blurry. It's just not a good look. And then the tan's not super even because it doesn't, get onto the skin, it's sticking to the hair. You'll see it, you know, if you are a competitor, there's always somebody, you know, getting tanned who didn't have somebody to shave their back or missed areas, and it does change the way the tan looks. So that's why shaving your body is very important. So I start a couple weeks out, you know, just to make sure the hair is all really short, because then that final shave that you do with the Bic razor, I call it bicking, or the, you know, blade razor, I use this one. This is my favorite. It's the Schick Hydro, and they're a 5-blade, this guy. I get the ones for sensitive skin. The thing I like about this one is that it kind of allows the blade to pivot back and forth, but it also really folds up. And then this whole thing moves too. So there's a hinge on the actual handle itself, and then also on the blade. And you can also flip this guy back. This is a men's razor at the top, so you can get really close to some areas, which is nice, especially when you're super lean. It can be really hard to shave around, you know, like this little area right here, you know, and just all these very bony, tendony areas, and you don't want to cut yourself. So this is the one I found to be the best. And like I said, this is a men's razor. I love it. And that's after I've already done like the knock all the hair down everywhere with an electric. I did this year, I've mentioned it a couple times before, so I tried, this is also from Philips, it's the 1-blade. I have very mixed feelings about the 1-blade. It's either good or it's really bad. So it does do a nice job, and it has this really flat razor on the top. So it's this really thin, flat blade, and it cuts both directions. So I like it, but the problem I have with it is it cuts me sometimes, and I never really know when I'm going to be cut by it. And it almost like gives me like these, it's like little tiny kind of nicks. Like I used it on my arms like a couple weeks before the show, and I had all these little bloody spots on the inside of my elbow. I mean, just like random stuff. And I nicked the back of my shoulder with it. So it's like I want to love it, and everybody I know who uses it loves it and like swears by it. But I just can't, I feel like I can't trust it. So I would definitely play around with it, with anything. I wouldn't try any new shaving technique, even the week of the show. So definitely start thinking about this ahead of time with your skin and shaving prep, because you may find, like if this was my only plan, and I mean, I would have had all those little cuts. And the problem then is that the tan, again, is not going to stick to those areas that have those little cuts. Luckily, this one on my shoulder was covered by my hair, and it did look really gnarly with the tan on it, but you couldn't see it because it was covered by my hair. But if it, you know, if it was a man, you know, and that was showing or it was distracting from their physique in some way, I mean, the last thing you want is to not place well because of something that you could have prevented, like cutting yourself all up with a razor and or not shaving at all. So those are the tools I use. A couple of other good tips for shaving is just take your time. So it can take a very long time. If you've never shaved your entire body, you will be shocked. It's like it never ends. And yes, I am tall and I have really long arms and legs, but like it just, you seem like you feel like you're never going to be done. And it can get almost kind of, you get to that point where you're like, oh gosh, I just want to be done. And you're like freezing and naked, like still shaving. So breaking it up is helpful. I shave like all my, like my arms, my legs, my back, my trunk, my chest, everything. I have someone shave my back on like Thursday if my show is Saturday. So then Friday, the only things I shave on that day of the tan are going to be like my legs, and I'll touch up my bikini line again just to make sure there's no hair anywhere. Everywhere else, you know, the shave on Thursday is fine. Definitely get someone to help you shave your back. It is something that's going to be really hard to shave yourself. And this year I had my amazing friend Lexi shave my back. And she did an amazing job. And even that took probably 45 minutes, you know, just because she was really taking her time and making sure she got every hair. Here is where my other tip comes in with shaving. They don't actually sell, I was surprised. I was going to try and link this, but I couldn't find it anywhere anymore. This is the Cremo, it said new at the time. I mean, I've had this for a while. It's a shave stick. So our impossibly slick formula in a versatile mess-free format fights nicks, irritation, and razor burn. Love this. And it was so great, you know, when someone else is shaving you, like for her to be able to have this to like just do little sections at a time. You just kind of, it looks like deodorant. It smells really good too, it's minty. So you just, you know, rub it on and it's really slick. So it gives really great glide, but it doesn't hide the hair and it doesn't dry out. So you know how like if you put like shaving cream or foam, it starts to dry really quickly. So I just had her use this, and then I brought my continuous spray spray bottle. We did this at work. So, she could just spray it a little bit, just wet it a little bit, and then use this. And all you have to do is just re-wet this a tiny bit, and you still have that glide. Whereas if you were trying to use like a shaving cream or a shaving foam, like as you shave, you're, cutting it all, or you're wiping it all off essentially. So then you'd have to put more on, and it could just get messy. And yeah, so there are other companies now. Cremo doesn't make this anymore, at least as far as I could find, but I found one from Nivea, and there were a couple of others on Amazon. So I would, again, play around with it first. I have extremely sensitive skin, so I would never switch even something as simple as I wouldn't even change the type of shaving cream I use ever on anywhere near show because my skin is so sensitive. So this Cremo is amazing. It's also TSA friendly. You can travel with it because it's a solid. So highly recommend something like this, especially for, the areas that somebody is helping you. Something else too that you feel like you can reach, but it's hard to reach yourself. It's like your lats, or kind of like the back of your arm. And yes, you can reach it if you kind of contour, at least I can, but I'm sure there's male bodybuilders. I mean, they're gonna have a really hard time because they have a really big chest. So reaching back behind, even to do your own shoulders, might be really challenging. So just thinking of all the areas, if you've got somebody helping you, just ask them to do those other areas, even some on your sides, you feel like you can reach it, but you really kind of can't. So the more they can help you shave, the better, especially for anything on the back side of the body. So those are my tips for shaving. I'd say don't overthink it, but definitely don't minimize how much time you're gonna need. You're gonna need a long time. I mean, I would plan a couple hours to shave, total, realistically. Probably, and that's for a small person. So if you're a really big guy, maybe even longer. Give yourself a lot of time. Don't rush it. Just know it's gonna take a while. Be patient. Just try, do your best, get everything. Don't forget your hands. Tops of your hands, tops of your feet, everything. Everything's got to go. I mean, for women, I don't shave my neck or the back of my neck. But if you are real hairy and you're a woman, I would suggest it. I would say shave your neck. I mean, I do definitely get up anywhere, where the tan goes all the way up your neck. So if you have, hair on your neck, you should shave that too, even as a woman. So. All right, and I apologize for putting shaving in a video where I did not talk about shaving, or at least in the title of a video. So there's my spiel on shaving. Let's do my grocery haul. Not a lot else fun this week. And then in the outro, I'm gonna talk about plans for the rest of the season, judges' feedback, and how I'm generally feeling overall this week. So I will see you there. I feel like it's been forever since I've done a grocery haul, but here we go. So this is just I only went to Vitamin Cottage or Natural Grocers and Walmart. I do need to go to Costco, but it's 4 o'clock on Sunday, and I just have too much to do to get ready for the week to start to spend that time at Costco today. So I will go later in the week, maybe. The only thing I really need right now is cauliflower rice, and I can live without it for a little bit. So this is what I got today at Walmart and Natural Grocers. So at Walmart, actually let's do Natural Grocers because I didn't get much there. So at Natural Grocers, I got nutritional yeast, which I love. It's kind of cheesy tasting. I put it on kind of everything. Super good. Really normal low macros. It has mostly fiber. The carbs are 5, but the fiber is 3. So that's really all it is, and a little bit of protein. Not a complete protein, but does give you a little bit. It's kind of like having the protein from your peas. And I also got 4 packets of the Justin's nut butter peanut butter. I've been adding peanut butter to some of my meals since my fats got bumped up a little bit. And these packets just make it really easy to portion control. So got 4 of those. That's what I got at Vitamin Cottage. And then at Walmart is where everything else came from. Pretty much, yeah, everything else. Got a big bag of rice. They don't always have these 5-pound bags of rice in stock, so I was super excited to see that. Just 5 pounds of the jasmine rice. Got a packet of strawberries and also a big bag of the sweet peas. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I was gonna try these out and see if I like them, and I do. They're good quality, like them a lot, so got another bag of those. Bag of carrots. These carrots are all really little. I don't know if you can tell, they're all super tiny carrots, which is fine. Just a lot of work to peel little carrots. I'd rather just peel a big carrot and cut it up, but this is all they had. They had 3 bags and they all had carrots this size. I mean, these are just itty bitty guys. Super tiny carrots, but carrots. I got 4 lemons, a couple of the blueberry light Greek yogurt, 2 packs of the fat-free mozzarella. I'm sure I have a bunch of this in my fridge right now, but like I said, they don't always have it, so I just grabbed it while I was there. an unsweetened vanilla almond milk, and then some kind of pantry stuff. I got another honey Dijon mustard. Really love this. A container of the light salt. I'm not out, but this is something that, again, they don't always have in stock. My Walmart is really busy, so they tend to run out of stuff. So saw that it was in stock and grabbed one because I always can use more. I am out of the honey mustard Kinder seasoning. I really like this. It's become one of my favorite things to put on just about everything. Like it a lot. Another jar of the sweet cherry peppers. These ones look really good. Lots of nice little guys. Excited about that. And then I got a tamed down sliced jalapeno peppers. These say medium heat. We'll see. They might be super hot. We'll have to see how they are, but that sounded really good. Got one of my mango tangerine Prep Vice waters. And also, if you have not had the Witch's Brew from Alani, I don't usually buy energy drinks, but this one is just, it's so good, and it's only out in the fall. It's caramel apple, which I know sounds like it might be kind of gross, but it's really just like a crisp apple with like a little hint of caramel. It's so delicious. So picked up one of those. And then I needed a couple of kind of just regular home good items. I needed bleach. I have mentioned a number of times that I bleach a lot of things after tan has gotten on it. And then I needed toilet paper, which really bummed me out because I like bamboo toilet paper and I have it on my subscribe and save from Amazon, but I skipped it in August because I didn't think I needed any. And actually I was out. So realized that yesterday that I'm like, oh, I'm like almost out of toilet paper. I have just what's left on the roll. So some toilet paper as well. And yeah, that's what I got. Like I said, I'll probably hit Costco at some point this week to get cauliflower rice. But other than that, I'm well stocked on everything else I need this week. So here we are. It is the end of week 13. And if I stuck with my regular plan, at least the plan at the beginning of the season, I would be 3 weeks out, actually like 2 weeks and a day or so, because I'm filming this at the end of the week. Because of the next show I was planning on doing would be the Clash series up in Cheyenne, and that is mid-September, and we are at the end of August, which is just shocking. I cannot believe how fast this year is flying by. So let's talk about what my plans are for the rest of the season. So obviously the show, if you've watched my show day vlog, did not go as I was hoping it would go. And that has been hard this week. I also did get the stage shots back kind of midweek. Like I'd mentioned, it takes a few days for them to get them up, and they had very few pictures and there were no pictures of the lineup. So I have really no idea how I looked next to these other women. I can look at their pictures obviously and see how they looked on their own, but it is really helpful to see how you look next to the people that you were up against and then to kind of get an idea of how you placed. So didn't get that. Judges' feedback at the end of the show was that I need more muscle, but that I had beautiful conditioning, which was really nice to hear. You know, we were worried that I may be coming in too lean, and that was absolutely not the feedback. In fact, they liked my conditioning. So also they wanted me to be slightly tighter. So that means even potentially getting a little bit leaner. So with all of that, you know, they want me to be more muscle, tighter. And at the, beginning of the week, I'm looking at, wow, I'm 3 weeks out from my next show. Is that realistic? Should I do that show, or should I not do that show and push a little bit harder for the show on October 5th, to give myself 5 weeks instead of just 3 weeks? So I haven't fully decided yet. I have until the end of this coming week to decide, because I do have to cancel all of my reservations or lose all the money I have already paid for all of them if I don't cancel in a timely manner. My coach did initially say that he would like me to do this show still, just because he feels like I need the practice. However, I just don't know if I'm going to. So we'll kind of see. And part of that is this week I have just not felt great. Can't lie. I've been more than a bit discouraged and just kind of feeling, like I really had a disappointing experience personally. Not the show day was great. Everything went well. Just that, man, I'm just having self-doubt is really what it comes down to. It's just feeling self-doubt. And also I had I mentioned in my intro that my weight was actually down 1 pound after the show, which is normal for me. I usually do drop weight the day after the show. But then the next 2 days, my weight skyrocketed up 5 pounds and has stayed there and is still there. And I cannot even begin to express the amount of anxiety that has caused me, because A, that has never happened to me before. And B, we have continued to drop everything. So I am down to half the carbs I was eating, literally half. I have increased my cardio. And just nothing has changed. And that is really scary is a bad word to use for that, but it's an unknown for me. That has not been my experience. So I'm feeling like, what is happening? Like, I don't know what's happening. And I feel like if I can't get my body to start responding, what are we going to do? So that has definitely, that's been really challenging. And like I said, mostly because it's not been my experience in the past. I've never had a weight gain like this. I mean, yes, I would have, a normal amount of fluctuation in weight around like ovulation that would be very transient, but never that lasted for a full week. And that was never 5 pounds. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I feel bad because I feel like I've been kind of not torturing my coach, but I've been, in contact with him every single day. And finally yesterday, which was Friday, I'm like, I'm not going to bother you the rest of the weekend. We'll just check in on Monday like normal and just see where we're at. But that's why I'm thinking that doing the show in a couple of weeks, in 2 weeks, is probably not realistic for what my body is kind of doing and experiencing right now. I don't really know what's happening. So will not make a final decision until the end of the week, but where I'm leaning right now is to not do that show and to just do the show in October. The other couple of things that does give me is more time to work on the things that I can control. As I've mentioned, you can't control who shows up to a show. All you can do is control how you show up to the show. So the things that I really think went so well at this first show, loved my hair, loved my makeup, it was great. I dislike the fit of the suit I wore, and as you know from watching my previous vlogs, this has been an ongoing issue. I did get the suits back that I ordered from Angel Competition Bikini. They did alter them. They are still not altered to the correct size, really. They're still both extremely tight, which again, and this is where the self-doubt again comes in this week, where I'm like, am I just the biggest person on earth? Am I just the hugest bikini competitor alive that can apparently not get a suit bottom to fit them? I'm like, I know that my glutes are small. So I don't understand why I can't get this suit bottom to fit. And that's been really frustrating. And I do have my suit, and that was kind of my plan prior to this first show, was just to wear my toxic suit. And that wouldn't have changed my placing. But I dislike how the suit bottoms looked and felt on stage and on show day. I mean, they were so tight that I had to take them off immediately when I got off stage because the connectors were actually cutting into my skin, which was messing up my tan, and it just felt really bad. Like, that doesn't feel good to have metal digging into your sides when you're trying to, pose. So I feel like my posing it felt good when I was doing it, but then, there are very few stage pictures. And again, there was no one there to show me a video or to even tell me how it looked in person. So I have really no idea. And that, again, those are things on me. So continue to work on my posing, figure out what I'm gonna do with the cut of the suit, or the suit in general, are definitely things that I can control. Those are things I definitely need to work on, working on building more muscle. I'm not going to put on a lot of muscle when I'm in a deficit. I'm also not going to put on a lot of muscle in 5 weeks. However, I can definitely do things to kind of increase the density of the muscles and also just get leaner, like they would like me to be, is a little bit leaner. Glutes a little bit tighter. There is a new device that we're actually demoing in our office this week that is a skin that is actually approved to treat areas of skin laxity. So I'm going to be trying that out on myself. So I mean, that's an added bonus, and that's super awesome. And I feel very fortunate that has come about at this time. So definitely gonna be trying that to kind of help tighten up some of that loose skin on the back of my thighs. And some of that's just, normal with age and gravity. There's some laxity back there, but making that as tight as it can possibly be, in addition to getting leaner, all very good. Now we also, my coach and I have done several shows, but this was our first show of the season. So seeing kind of the process of peaking, obviously sitting in a very hot car for an hour on the way home from my tan and then just being kind of stressed about that did not do anything to help my physique. That night I was very distended in my lower abdomen. I was not feeling good about how I was looking. But then when I woke up on show day, I felt great. Things were good. The lower abdomen distension was gone, and I didn't feel that come back throughout the day at the show. So that was all really good. But just getting more practice with peaking, every peak is going to be slightly different, just kind of learning what it takes. I got a great pump, so that's really good. I feel like I kind of really nailed that. There were so many things that really were good and great educational experience. And that's why I think my coach would like me to do the show in a couple weeks, because it's just more. It's more data, it's more experience, it's more everything. But again, I'm just not sure I'm feeling it. Mentally and physically, not sure if I'm feeling it. So we'll kind of see how it goes. Yeah, so those are my feelings. I know that was a lot. Kind of just dumping that all out, but that's definitely how I've been feeling. I am really motivated to do better and to continue to improve. This is a sport that is very individual, and it can be very challenging at times because you are putting yourself up to be judged. And when you've done your best and you've worked really hard, that can sometimes feel a little disheartening. But what I remind myself is that everybody who's up there has worked just as hard as me. So I am not special in that sense. I don't deserve anything. I don't think I should have placed any differently than I did. I have no idea. I was not in the judge's position. So I'm going to trust that they judged me fairly based on what was presented to them and what I brought. And that's what I mean. That's on me. What I brought to stage is on me. So what can I do to be better for my next show? Work on my posing, work on my peaking and digestion and all those things leading up into the day of the show to make sure that I have controlled all the controllables, and then let the cards fall where they may. So, okay, there's one other thing. There's something else I wanted to talk about. Sorry, even though I'm not on peak week, I still have the prep brain. I still am in prep. So let's talk a little bit about how to get the tan off after the show. So I love the first couple of days of the beautiful tan, but there are some things I do that kind of help it. Initially, when I first competed, I think I'd heard or read somewhere you shouldn't try to get the tan off, just kind of let it fade, do its thing. But I have found that not to be the case, at least for me and my skin. So the night of the show, I take what I call a big shower because it's a lot. You literally are hosing off a dirty vehicle in your shower. So you get in and the second water touches your skin, it's brown water explodes everywhere. So the first thing I do is just give really, really rinse. And then I use my loofah and I just really, really just wash everything, just get super soapy, rinse again. And then I use my exfoliating gloves, but I use it with this scrub that I found. This is actually, it's relatively new. I mean, it still says new on it, but it's been out for a while. So this is the EOS Cashmere Smooth Skin. They make this in several varieties. This one is the Shea Butter. And it is meant specifically for shaving, but what I like about it is it's a scrub and it's not super abrasive and it's also not greasy. What I don't like, especially when I have the tan on, is to use a scrub that's a really thick oil-based scrub because it doesn't really feel like it gets in. You have this film of tan on you even after washing, and you feel it kind of just on your skin for quite a while, and it continues to rub off as the week goes on. So I find that I get the best results if I do kind of just give everything a really good wash and then a really good scrub, then hydrate really well, and that kind of helps the tan fade. And even now, there's areas of the tan that are completely faded, where my clothes have been rubbing on it all week, and then other areas where it's still kind of dark, on the back of my calves, where clothes don't really touch it. So it does fade a bit unevenly, and I'm finally getting it off of this part of my wrist. It always really sticks a lot. So, I think throughout the week, I do just some gentle exfoliation just with the scrub, but without the mitts, or with the mitts without the scrub, just one or the other. If you have another show coming up quickly, a mistake I've made in the past when I have shows that were kind of close together was over exfoliating, and then my skin gets really irritated. So because you do have to start exfoliating again on peak week, daily exfoliation, I try to give my skin a little bit of a break in the few days after the show. So just exfoliate really well that first night, and then kind of just use my loofah and just let it kind of chill. And even shaving, I don't shave for a few days just to kind of let my skin, not be irritated, and that for me works the best. So, but I do recommend trying that first night to get off as much of the top coat as you can, and giving everything else kind of just a nice gentle scrub to make sure it's even, because the next day you wake up with just this beautiful golden tan and it's really nice. And then as the week goes on, you'll look a little mangy. At least I do. If you have another show coming up the following week, same thing. I would really make sure that you are keeping, trying to get as much of the tan off so it's even, because when they add more tan on top of it, if you have areas that are still really dark from the previous tan, it could end up looking slightly uneven. So being aware of all of those things. They do make products to remove tan. I've never tried one of those. I have never felt it necessary. I guess if you had an area where you really needed to get the tan off, or you had something where you really had to get the tan off, you could try that. But for me, I just let it fade. And it does come off. I use a waffly towel, and just really, that for me is kind of one of the best things too, is just to kind of, when I get out of the shower, just kind of aggressively drying off with that. And I literally wash it every single day because it gets covered in tan. Same thing, your sheets, definitely wash your sheets every couple of days after a show, because your tan is continually rubbing off on it while you sleep, and it can get kind of gross. So, and keep your black sheets on. Definitely keep your black sheets, not just the night of the show, but I would leave your dark colored sheets on for at least a full week after your show, because the tan does kind of just continue to rub off on everything, and it washes out. Like, at least for me, it always washes out of even like my white towels and other things. I've never had a problem with it, but that's with this tan, and that may not be your experience. So to prevent yourself from staining anything you really like, keep up with all your dark stuff for at least a full solid week after the show tan, just to make sure that you don't ruin anything. So I think that's it. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully these shaving tips that I actually included this time and tan tips were helpful. And if you have any feedback, questions, thoughts, advice, I'm always open. You know how much everybody means to me. If you don't, please go back and watch my show day vlog all the way to the end, because it gets pretty emotional. And I really do appreciate every single person who has reached out to me this week just to see how I'm doing and to check in on me. I really, really appreciate it. And it's a great community. Bodybuilding is an individual sport, but it's an amazing community. So definitely appreciate everyone for watching and for being here. Week 14 coming up. We'll see. That'll be the deciding week of whether or not I'm going to do the show in Wyoming, or if I'm going to just push for the show in October. The show in October is actually the week before the Arnold, so it would be kind of fun to be, super, super lean for that week going into the Arnold. I'd have to get something done with the tan, because I don't know if I could show up to Vegas with this half tan that I have right now. This would be what I would be dealing with. So see, all good data. All of this is good data in life. All right, so thank you again, everyone. Really appreciate everybody for watching. Spread positivity to the world, but most importantly to yourself. And I will see you all here next week.